Hello, hola, bonjour. Today I'm going to be speaking about language barriers. Language is a key useful tool in many aspects of the jobs that we do, trade, everything. So through my own experience and personal research, I have learned that language barriers can be a hidden opportunity and a problem with trade. Language, the definition of language is a systematic means of communication, ideas, or feelings by the use of conventional sounds, signs, gestures, or marks having understood meanings between people. I will now use my language to speak to you to convey this message of how language barriers can be a problem and helpful. Language is becoming a key topic in the growing global market. Multinational companies like Microsoft use offices throughout the world, and these offices need to be able to communicate with the people that live there. In order to communicate with the people that live there, they need to be knowledgeable of the language and the culture. The cost of language. When people do not understand what you're saying, the opportunity for business goes down. There was a costing battle, the contribution of language skills in exporting productivity says language is a barrier to foreign trade, which can be represented by a tax. There is evidence that Britain's language investment is so low that it imposes a heavier tax on British trade than the average rep for the rest of the world. Now, this is a problem. Obviously, you want to be able to make more money. You want to be able to have your trade very strong. World trade is growing, obviously. International trade, a research paper done on the trade that affects the world, started many years ago in 1500, but it says international trade. After the Second World War, trade started growing again, obviously. Trade started growing again. The new and ongoing wave of globalization has seen international trade growing faster than ever before. The total sum of exports and imports across the nation is 50% higher than production, which means we trade more than we produce. So let's take it back to what can you do? There's opportunities for you. There's opportunities in languages. The more language people have under his or her belt, the chances of working with different cultures around the world and therefore making their company and themselves more money, entrepreneurs. So, what are the one things? Education is key. What are the results? Well, according to a meta-analysis on studies around the world regarding trade and language, turning to language acquisition by non-English speakers, investments in English as a second language in Switzerland yields 25% earnings differential for fluent skills, controlling for education experience as a tangible outcome. That means people disregarding their economical background, their experience, and their education. If they merely learned more language in Switzerland, it yielded a 25% earnings differential. How does this help? Diversifying languages in the United States could propel us to be a fiercer global economic force since the world is growing into a dominant trading network of many countries. So, the effects of language skills are more fundamental at younger languages. So what is something we can do? Education is key. Education is very key. Take full advantage of time education. Start teaching yourself languages as often as you possibly can. There are many tools out there to learn foreign language. If you have the opportunity to invest in culture, do so. Learning language has a quote on starting kids early on. So teach your kids multiple languages. At first, their quote is, "At first, word learning is quite slow and new words show up every week or so. But things often speed up and they start learning about 50 words every week." This is a spurt in vocabulary that is very common with children. So if you can teach them a language during this spurt, they will grow exponentially in their cognitive ability to understand that language. Also, in how children learn language, talk to your children as much as you can. Talk to them in their language. Talk to them in the language they're trying to learn. Talk to them and listen to them, because children need people who will listen to them and talk to them to grow in their cognitive abilities. conclusion, as you can see, the importance of language diversity will be a deciding factor in continuing globalizing world. I believe that one day we'll be able to travel around the world with minimal to no translation. One day in the future, we will be able to recognize most languages and possibly even speak them. That's very far in the future. So, on to the next slide is McKinley Stanley with information overload.